Hello and welcome to Startup Street. I'm Shruti Mishra and with me is Arundhati Ramanan. These are the top headlines from the startup space. Perfios, a B2B SaaS fintech company, raises $80 million from Teachers Venture Growth, the late-stage venture and growth investment arm of Ontario Teachers Pension Plan. Funds will be used for international expansion and exploring inorganic growth opportunities.
CureSkin, an AI-driven dermatology platform, backs $20 million in its Series B funding round led by Health Quad. Existing marquee investors, JSW Ventures, Khosla Ventures and Sharp Ventures also participate. The company claims to have treated more than 15 lakh customers so far.
8i Ventures launches a new $10 million seed fund to back early-stage founders. The VC will invest $250,000 to $2 million in pre-seed to early revenue phase startups across industries.
Nazara has pledged $100 million to propel global expansion via strategic merger and acquisitions in the next 24 months. The company is looking to identify opportunities across gaming, esports and ad tech sectors with a particular focus on establishing gaming IPs and studios.
E-commerce marketplace Meesho announces an ESOP buyback program valued at 200 crore rupees, marking the largest buyback initiative in the company's history. This move aims to extend benefits to nearly 1,700 past and present employees.
A government-appointed panel calls for preemptive regulations on big tech companies to curb dominant behavior, warns that addressing anti-competitive practices after they occur could allow companies to evade scrutiny, proposes monetary penalties of up to 10% of global turnover for companies identified as systemically significant digital enterprises.
Those were the headlines we've been tracking for you this evening. Boston Consulting Group and early-stage investors Matrix Partners India have launched Digitizing Make in India Report 2024, a deep dive on the state of the B2B and manufacturing tech landscape of the country. The report also focuses on the sunrise sectors, along with a playbook on how entrepreneurs can play this manufacturing wave. To elaborate more, joining me now are Ishang Java, Managing Director and Partner at BCG India, and Sudipto Sanigrahi, Managing Director, Matrix Partners India. Gentlemen, welcome to Startup Street. And Ishang, let me start with you first. Tell us, how does the manufacturing sector contribute to India's incremental GVA growth? Also, if you could elaborate on the key drivers propelling the manufacturing wave in India.
So analysis suggests that 32% of our GVA is expected to come from manufacturing in the next 6 to 8 years, which translates into almost $1.4 trillion of incremental GVA by FY30. 4 key factors which are driving this. 1, a very high domestic demand and growing affluence and household income. 2, large infrastructure spend by the government, which is enabling cost-competitive manufacturing and supply chains in India. 3, a big global supply chain dynamic change and trade flows that are enabling India to be seen as the next export hub. And 4, a lot of manufacturing focus incentives and PLIs, which are driving the focus on high value-add manufacturing. Together, these 4 are the ones which are going to be the key drivers of our manufacturing-led GVA addition.
All right. Sudipto, coming to you now, what role do sunrise sectors like semiconductors, electronics, manufacturing, electric vehicles, and renewable energy, and of course, defense play in India's manufacturing wave?
Sure, Shruti. First of all, thank you for hosting me and Ishang. I think Ishang obviously mentioned why we are big believers of manufacturing as a sector as we move from a $4 trillion to $10 trillion economy. We spoke 32% of the GVA addition will be manufacturing. Within that, the core sectors that we have mentioned in the report and Ishang also spoke about will contribute more than 50% of the overall manufacturing boom. So in terms of size and scale, obviously these sectors are significantly important. But more importantly, if you take a step back and think about what are the sectors of national importance, you will realize that there are 3-4 key sectors which every country needs to do really well to be truly resilient. What are those sectors? One is compute, which is semiconductors, cloud, AI, and overall electronics manufacturing. Yeah. That would be probably $600–650 billion. Second is EV renewable energy. Again, within EV and renewable energy combined will be another $100 billion. Defense, which would be $40–45 billion. And then obviously agri and food security and infrastructure. So we believe that these are the core sectors driving the economy, and there are enough number of tailwinds, as Ishang mentioned, why these sectors will do really, really well over the next 5 to 10 years.
Sure. Okay, let's talk about the electronics manufacturing segment. Ishang, if you could tell us how are global leaders in electronics manufacturing, such as Foxconn, Dell, Samsung, Micron, and more, contributing to India's semiconductor and electronics manufacturing landscape?
If you look at the three large EMS players, Foxconn, Jabil, Flex, they have really expanded their footprint in India, not just for manufacturing in India for India, but also India for global. And this is being driven by the diversification strategy that their clients are asking for. Similarly, OEMs like Dell, Samsung, which, to a large extent were focusing on India for assembly of mobiles, are also, now expanding into other components. They are not just looking at fulfilling these through their own centers, but also via contract manufacturing. What this is doing is establishing an end-to-end supply chain and large-scale assembly line setups in India. What this will do in the future is it will serve as the platform and the base for backward integration into high value-add items, and also accelerate the journey for an integrated play inside India.
Okay. Sudipto, coming back to you, the report suggests that the Indian defense market is expected to reach $43 billion by 2030. What are the opportunities available for design, development, and manufacturing in this sector?
Sure, there are three areas where there are a lot of interesting opportunities. One obviously is in surveillance, where over the past 12 to 18 months, we have seen a lot of interesting companies come out in both drones and in space tech. So that's one big area. Second is obviously prime aggregators sell to the government, but you have a lot of opportunities in building technology for both offense and defense. For example, building radars, sensors, etc., that can be used in defense. And third, given how fast the defense sector is growing in India, companies also have an opportunity to build picks and shovels businesses. For example, there will be a lot of high quality precision manufacturing that will be required in the defense sector. So there are opportunities, for example, for 5-axis CNC machine companies. So surveillance, tech, and precision engineering.
All right. Ishang, coming to you quickly, besides semiconductors, electronics, EVs, renewable energy, and defense, what are the other sectors that are expected to significantly contribute to India's $10 trillion economy journey? And what opportunities do they offer for entrepreneurs, if you could quickly tell us?
So two big opportunity areas that, we cover in the report briefly as well. One is agri-tech, including food tech. Agri exports are expected to be a 15 billion plus market, and there is a potential of 20 billion plus of farm mechanization. Similarly, if we look at specialty chemicals, that's a 70 billion plus opportunity that we see by FY30. Entrepreneurs, startups, existing players can really focus on building strong R&D-backed manufacturing networks and tech-enabled supply chains, which are critical for these sectors and help us grow these.
All right. Sudipto, before I let you go, I have to talk to you about Matrix's investment in Krutrim. The investment took it to a unicorn status. First, give us a sense of the valuation the venture got before it even had a product. And secondly, what do you have to say about the criticism it has been facing on its beta program?
Sure, thank you. I think I won't comment on the valuation and the round outside what is available in public domain, but I will definitely talk about the product. So first, what does Krutrim do? Krutrim is a full stack AI product. It has three layers to it. One is the semiconductor compute layer where we are building our AI accelerator. Second, you have cloud. And third, you have an AI LLM, which obviously everyone tried out and we got feedback on, which is India's first LLM focused on Indian languages built in India. So that's what Krutrim does. I think like all other large language model data, we released a beta to get feedback, and like all large language model companies bases the feedback and more data training, we are improving the LLM model. And in the near future, you will obviously see a much more advanced version of the LLM that all of us in India can use.
All right. On that note, we'll have to wrap up our conversation. Ishang and Sudipto, many thanks for joining us on Startup Street today. It was an absolute pleasure talking to the both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, moving on, mobility fintech startup Moove has bagged $10 million in debt from Stride Ventures in India with a credit line of another $10 million. This marks the fintech's maiden debt funding from an external party in India. The proceeds will be used to strengthen Moove's presence in the country by expanding into new cities, operating in 9 markets across Africa, the Middle East, Europe and Asia. The brand claims to be Uber's vehicle supply partner in EMEA and its largest global fleet partner. Currently, over 30 million trips have been completed in Moove-financed vehicles globally. Joining us now to discuss this further is Binod Mishra, the regional MD of India and South Asia of Moove. Binod, thank you so much for joining us on Startup Street today, and congratulations on the fundraise. You're a mobility fintech company and provide vehicle financing to drivers of ride-hailing platforms. So what's on offer at the company at this point?
So firstly, thank you, Arundhati, for having me on the show. At Moove, we are committed to democratizing vehicle ownership for the mobility entrepreneurs. We provide vehicles to the drivers who doesn't have credit score. And as all of us knows, in India, there is no civil scores for the driver. And then getting an ownership of the car is very difficult for them. Even if they goes to bank or to the NBFC, to the bank, they are denied loan most of the time. And to the NBFC, the rate of the interest is at the very higher side. So what we do that we go to those drivers and we provide vehicles to them wherein they become the virtual owner of the car from the day one. They drive that car for a fixed tenure of the time, and then they become the owner of the car at the end of the tenure at a fair market price.
Right, so essentially democratizing vehicle ownership and financing in the country. Now, you've raised $10 million in debt. What's the fund allocation plan? What's on top of your agenda going forward?
So thank you for this question, Arundhati. So we started our business about 1.5 years ago in India after SSA at the Moove. And we have currently about 2,000 vehicles already in India. We have 3 operational cities, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, as of now. And we are coming up with the 4th city. We are headquartered at Gurgaon. With this 10 million and with another credit line of 10 million, so 20 million altogether, we are going to expand our footprints in the more cities of the India. We offer varieties of the car for the drivers. Those are not getting the vehicle finance on the platform, so that they get the car from us and to fulfill their livelihood and earn a good amount of money working with us.
Right. And, you know, as you just mentioned, you entered India about 1.5 years ago. So what's the traction that you've seen here? Who's your typical customer? And what's the average ticket size of these loans?
So we work with the different marketplace globally, Arundhati, and likewise in India as well. So our ticket size depend on the marketplace business because we do not cater the demand side. We cater the supply side of the business. Our customers are the drivers, and we empower them to become entrepreneurs on the platform. We find the people who has driving license skills, go to the rural also, and we do some background checks, enter into some agreements, and we provide cars to them so that they are contributing to the supply side of the marketplace, while demand side is being taken care by the marketplace.
Right. And what about revenues? What have you clocked so far? And will India be the focus going forward for the company?
So yes, India is a very critical market, Arundhati, and no global giant think business without India. So very critical business for us. Currently, we have financed more than 2,000 cars in the last about 18 months. We are the second largest fleet operator as of today, and we are going to expand to 5,000 plus within this financial year.
Right. And what about expansion within India? You said that you have a presence in 3 cities. So what's next for the company in the India market?
So we are committed to add more cities, and currently we are adding cities like Pune, Chennai, and Kolkata in the next 2 quarters, Arundhati. So as you rightly asked, we are since this India market is very, very critical for any business and contributes a large chunk of the business globally, we are going to ensure that we are going to be India focused in time to come, and we are expanding our business in multi-cities, in next 3 cities in 2 quarters, and another 3 cities in the next 2 quarters. So you will see us in the more than 10 cities in the next 6 to 9 months.
All right, so more than 10 cities in the next 6 to 9 months. Thank you, Binod, for joining us on the show today.
All right, with that, it's time for us to head into a short break. But coming up, a deep dive into India's intercity bus market. What are the key trends and forecasts? We tell you on the other side. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Startup Street. In what is a first for the bus transport sector in India, redBus, an online bus ticketing platform, has launched a data-based report on the Indian intercity bus industry. The inaugural report covers key parameters reflecting the overall health and trends of the Indian bus industry in November and December last year. My colleague Aishwarya Anand caught up with CEO Prakash Sangam to discuss the key highlights. Take a look.
Prakash, you've just launched a report which gives us insight into India's bus transport market. So, could you just tell our viewers some of the key interesting trends from the report?
So if you look at November and December, 3.6 crore people traveled on intercity buses.
Correct.
Right? So it tells you that it's playing an important role in plugging a need gap. As in people, there's a good complement for, let's say, railways, where there is typically no availability, right? And of flights which are typically far more expensive, because the average seat price here for bus market is about 1,008 rupees. The other couple of interesting data points that are coming out is in terms of the share of, where is the market really concentrated in. So the bus market, because of the way the policies have evolved over time, the kind of road infrastructure that existed, is primarily located in the west and the south. So 80% of the current bus market is in these two states. Average occupancy for this entire sector at an all India level stands at 77%. So that points to for more bus inventory to come into this market. And we will see that happening now in this year.
The intercity bus transport market in India is somewhere pegged to be between $15 to $20 billion, right? So, and as one of the key players in the industry, I just wanted to understand that how has redBus's growth been in 2023 and up till 2024? And, in terms of demand patterns, what is the change that you've noticed in the past 1 year? And what is your outlook going forward?
Our revenue growth is in the mid-20s, right? And that has been a consistent growth rate that we have been hitting. We are seeing that south of the country, right? That is where the bulk of our business contribution currently comes from. We are still not gone back to our pre-COVID numbers in markets like TN, which is the largest market.
Correct.
In AP, Telangana and Karnataka, we are still in just single-digit growth compared to pre-COVID. So because of remote working, people have kind of shifted to their hometowns and therefore the need for travel is not there. Beyond that, a lot of our energy and attention and focus is going towards driving growth in markets where the penetrations of online bookings are low. And that is Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. In the northern markets like UP, Rajasthan, Gujarat. So these are states where we will see more growth going forward. Another data point from the redBus data is the share of our bookings which are coming from sources being non-metro. That is now 67%. When I say metro, I'm talking about the 4 state capitals, the 4 corners, and Bangalore and Hyderabad. That is 1 in 3. 2 in 3 is coming from the other towns and cities, right? That points to digitization.
There has been a massive push for EV public infra, right? So is redBus planning to incorporate or launch its own electric vehicle fleet?
The short answer to that is no. But where we see a role for ourselves is in terms of build out of the ecosystem to facilitate EV adoption. We are happy to work with various players, be it OEMs, bus operators, financial institutions, to enable the creation of an EV ecosystem, right?
Okay.
And we think we are well placed to do it because of both the data that we can bring to the table, as well as our relationships with bus operators, and our ability to create demand.
Okay, all right. You joined ONDC just a month ago. So help us understand what services are you offering there? And since it's been a month, so how has the integration been till now?
Our objective of going into ONDC was to see whether we could help our intercity bus passengers with first mile and last mile connectivity.
Correct.
With ONDC, we get access to metros and autos, right? And going forward, even cabs, perhaps bike taxis. So we want to see whether we can enable that. Many of our customers, because they don't travel with buses that frequently, right? But most of the intracity, use cases that I spoke about, which is metro or autos, etc., can be far more frequent use cases. Right?
Yeah.
So we also feel that may help us get more stickiness to our app, will help improve retention.
Okay. Prakash, one final question. Tell me, barring the bus segment, which other verticals on your platform are growing tremendously well?
Also do rail ticket booking and rail info services. And that is something that we entered only a couple of years back because we saw a lot of overlap between bus and rail customers. And there we have launched an interesting product called a trip guarantee here in Southeast Asia and Latin America. We have recently announced, and we are actually in the process of launching in 2 new markets in Southeast Asia, that is in Vietnam and in Cambodia. That adds on to Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, where we are already present.
And with that, it is a wrap on this edition of Startup Street. More news and updates coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.